Chicagoland, hey, let's start the conversation. Upset, complaint, opinion, call me. Oh, no, that didn't just happen. Garrard McClendon Live starts now. Yes, you know it starts now. Garrard McClendon Live, number 23. Chicago Bulls guard Michael Jordan is in the Basketball Hall of Fame. It was obviously going to happen sooner or later, but this week's induction was spectacular. David Robinson, John Stockton, and Jerry Sloan are his Hall mates this year, making the Naismith Memorial Hall of Fame a much better place. Air Jordan, you'll believe a man can fly tonight as we celebrate greatness, testing the touchstone, and asking the question, is Michael Jordan the greatest player ever to play the game of basketball? I know you have an opinion, Chicago, so give me a call right now, 877-358-CLTV. Later in the show, we'll hear from the NBA's Miami Heat guard, Chicago's own Dwayne Wade. But joining me tonight from the WGN newsroom is media consultant and longtime Chicago sportscaster, Mr. Tom Shaer. Tom, how's it going this evening?
All right, Gerard, good to be with you on a very historic evening for all of us who watched him.
You know, Tom, thanks for joining us tonight. First, give me some opening thoughts on Michael's induction into the Hall of Fame. What do you think about that, Tom?
Well, of course, it was a fait accompli. There's no way Michael Jordan doesn't go into every Hall of Fame possible, let alone the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. This should have happened 6 years ago. He never should have played again after the Bulls, but it's his prerogative. He didn't play badly for Washington, but he is and always will be a Chicago Bull. He hung him up in '98. 5 years later, you wait for the waiting period, and he would have been inducted, about 6 years earlier. So we've been waiting eagerly, and it's almost a little anticlimactic, but it's wonderful.
Yeah, it is wonderful. You know, Tom, let's look at the man, the myth, and the legend just to peruse the cliche there. The stats don't lie, my friend. 2 Olympic gold medals, 6-time NBA champion, 6-time NBA Finals MVP, 5-time NBA MVP, 10 NBA scoring titles. But the controversy is in the comparison. Should we compare and contrast players? I mean, should getting into the Hall of Fame, before we talk about players, Tom, should getting into the Hall of Fame be clearly a statistical matter, or is there something that's a little bit more narrative here? What do you think?
Well, winning always helps you, but if winning were the criteria for Halls of Fame, then Ernie Banks wouldn't be in the Hall of Fame in baseball. Gale Sayers, another great Chicago athlete, wouldn't be in football. So winning does help, and Michael did win, so there's no debate there. But if you look at him individually and his team accomplishments, they bring him into another orbit, really. No player in the history of team sports can put himself in the same category as Michael Jordan. None.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah, Tom, it's funny that you mentioned the word orbit because we're watching some clips from the slam dunk contest of Michael Jordan right now, and the slogan is true. You'll believe a man can fly. I mean, some of those dunks when he was much younger were just unbelievable, Tom. Share me some thoughts.
Well, they'd never been seen before, Gerard, really. There'd been dunking before, but Jordan took it to a new height. I mean, this business of flying and then the videos, Nike did a great job of marketing the Come Fly With Me business and all that. It was just something we'd never seen before. He really did change the entertainment aspect of the game, and it's no coincidence that that's when the NBA grew. Look, other players had been great, and they won more titles. Bill Russell won 11 championships in 13 years with the Boston Celtics. The argument of who's the greatest of all time always includes Jordan, Russell, Oscar Robertson, Wilt, players like that. And they all won. Russell won more than Michael.
Yeah.
And he revolutionized the game as well because he was a big man who dominated after George Mikan.
Yes.
But Michael really did something that no one else has done because, Gerard, he didn't have the All-Stars playing with him. What other All-Stars did he have playing with him? He has Scottie Pippen, and that's it.
Yeah.
Bill Russell had on any given team 3 to 5 future NBA All-Stars.
Oh, wow. You know, that's a big difference, and that goes right into my next question, Tom. Should we compare and contrast players? I mean, you mentioned some of the greats. Let me add a few. Oscar Robertson, you mentioned Kareem, Magic, John Stockton, Julius Erving, Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell. Should we compare, or is this something that we're going to do regardless?
Well, I think we should compare because it gives us some sort of a benchmark and some sort of a standard by which all players are measured, although Michael is now the standard for the greatest. You know, the players are measured by that yardstick, if you will, and Kobe Bryant is awfully close. But I think the danger in comparing is nothing is ever the same. Russell and Chamberlain were centers. Michael is a guard. Oscar was a great guard. How many great guards have there really been? Guys who could dominate and win single-handedly? Not too many. I think Michael was really the only one who did it as consistently as he did.
Yeah, and the word dominate, I like that because there's a controversy out. ESPN reported, Tom, that Jerry Krause is leading a not-so-quiet protest of Jordan's induction. He believes Jordan is worthy, but feels that Tex Winter, the inventor of the triangle offense, should be inducted as well. Make some sense out of this, or is just a trifling sidebar, Tom?
I think it makes complete sense, Gerard, and it is a trifling sidebar, if you will. But I heard Jerry Krause's comments, and I've discussed this with Jerry Krause going back 10 years. It's not as though he's protesting Michael Jordan. That's not at all the case. He has no problem with Jordan's greatness, even though they are not personally good friends and they didn't get along that well over the years. His issue is with the Basketball Hall of Fame. He was asked, are you going to go to the Hall of Fame and accompany Jerry Reinsdorf, who was your owner, as your greatest player ever goes into the Hall? And he said, I'm not going. It has nothing to do with Michael, but Tex Winter should be in there. And I will tell you, two major figures in the history of basketball and the history of Chicago basketball, Tex Winter and Johnny Red Kerr, should be in the Hall of Fame. Kerr got a great award, the award that's right below being in the Hall of Fame. That was given to his family this weekend. It was announced a little while before he died, but that's not being in the Hall of Fame. Kerr and Winter should be in there. Jerry Krause is completely correct. I don't blame him for boycotting the Hall of Fame, as long as he makes clear that he has no problem with Michael, and that's what he said. This is a non-issue. This is a non-controversy. Jerry Krause has said nothing negative about Michael.
Absolutely. Is Michael Jordan, though, Tom, without a Tex Winter and the Zen Master? If there's no Zen Master, if there's no Tex Winter, is Michael Jordan still the Michael Jordan that's in the Hall of Fame?
No. And this is a key issue, Gerard. You're the only person I've heard raise this over the last few days of all the Michael Jordan talk. So far, I haven't heard anybody say this. Michael Jordan doesn't win 6 titles without the other people. And those people were brought here by Jerry Krause and Jerry Reinsdorf. Okay? Nobody would hire Phil Jackson. Nobody wanted Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson wrote in his own book that before he got a second chance to work for the Bulls, and he did get hired, before Jerry Krause called him, he, Phil Jackson, was filing for unemployment and was going to enroll in law school. Wow. Nobody would touch him in the NBA. They thought he was too far out there. But Jerry Krause wisely found a way to get him involved, and then in a very controversial firing, they let go of a good coach, Doug Collins, because they thought they could get a great coach to develop in Phil Jackson, and they did it. It was also Krause who brought in Pippen, Grant, Paxson. I could go on and on and on. Even Michael's last championship of the first three-peat, 1993, B.J. Armstrong was a big player in that postseason against the Knicks. Krause brought him in. So Jerry Krause made some mistakes, but he also did a lot of great things, and he had to turn over that roster and rebuild the whole team. Without those other people, Michael Jordan would still be as great a player, but he wouldn't be as accomplished a player because there would not be 6 titles.
You know what, Tom? Zen in the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, great book. This is Zen in the Art of Basketball Championships. Phil Jackson, Working the Triangle, Tex Winter, Michael Jordan. Hold tight, Tom. You got to get in on the conversation tonight. We're talking about the 6'6" guard from the University of North Carolina, number 23, Michael Jordan. Call me Chicago. Is Michael Jordan the greatest player ever to play the game of basketball? He's in the Hall of Fame now, which means legendary status is his to keep. Tom Shaer is with me tonight. Later in the show, you'll hear from Dwayne Wade. Call us, 877-358-CLTV. Garrard McClendon Live, back in 2 minutes.
I will always have the deepest warmth.
What defines greatness? 2 words, Michael Jordan. Garrard McClendon Live celebrates the career and Hall of Fame induction of Michael Jordan. Tom Shaer joins us to explain the definitive work of a basketball player. 877-358-CLTV, that's the number that gets you in on the conversation. Tom, before I go to phones, man, let me first read some comments from Facebook. It's blowing up. David says, it's about time. Jack says, I remember all the championship games that we went to, and it was truly an amazing sight to see Michael play. Randy says, Michael Jordan, the best there is, the best there was, the best there will ever be. Tom Shaer, what do you think about that?
I agree with that statement completely. It's just not possible for anyone to be as great as he was. Again, we did the comparisons earlier. I won't bore people with it again. Bill Russell won a lot of titles, but he had those all-stars playing with him. Michael Jordan won 23 games for the Chicago Bulls. It's an easy number to remember. 23 was his uniform number, too, of course. He won 23 games with buzzer-beating shots.
Wow.
As the buzzer expired, or a second before, then there was a half a second for the other team to try to win, which they couldn't do. 23 game-winning shots at or just before the buzzer. That's a remarkable total. One player, one guy, amazing.
That's unbelievable, and that's the stuff that you dream about when you're a little kid. You know, you're counting down 3, 2, 1, and the buzzer goes off and the ball goes in. Let me go to the phones. I'm going to Calvin. Calvin, thanks for calling GML. Calvin, what's on your mind?
Hey, what's on my mind is Michael Jordan is the greatest player. I've been a Bulls fan since the inception in 1966. I've never seen a more dominant player. But you know what, Gerard, that makes him real smart? He went to school. Not only that, he still got a degree in spite of the money he had. Not only that, he also got his foot broken. He had to blow and play through it. For the young kids, that's the mark of a true champion. And thanks for taking my call.
Yes, Calvin, we appreciate you. Let me get one more in. Deonth, thanks for calling GML. What's your comment on Michael Jordan? Let me go to Clinton. What's your comment on GML tonight, Clinton? You're on the line, Clinton. What's your comment?
Hey, Gerard, it's me, Quincy.
Go ahead. What's up?
Hi, Gerard. My name is Quentin. I just want to let you know that Michael Jordan is the dominant player in the NBA. even I have a Bulls championship banner in my room. Championship banner in my room.
All right, Quentin. All right, Quentin. Jabron, we going to you next on GML. What's your comment, Jabron? Jabron, what's your comment?
I just wanted to say thank you for taking my call, and I watch you each and every night, along with my fiance Jasmine. I just wanted to say that it's a shame that he doesn't have a peace with the team after so much has been accomplished on his behalf. I mean, some people would make the argument that Larry Bird didn't finish up with a piece of the Boston Celtics, but the argument with Michael is there weren't anybody before him that accomplished so much for that franchise. So it's just a shame that he didn't get a chance to retire with a piece of the ownership with the team. It's just a shame.
Well, you know, that's
Jabron,
something.
Thanks for the call, Jabron.
That's
Tom,
something
what do you think?
that was started by Jerry Buss out in Los Angeles, where he gave Magic Johnson a piece of the team as part of his compensation. Years ago in hockey, the Boston Celtics offered Bobby Orr a chunk of the team, but his agent never told him about that offer, so he didn't know it, and he left for Chicago, came here to the Blackhawks. So this has been done before and been offered before, but I think that's silly. I think that's ludicrous. I don't think your caller is silly, because I think he's saying things that a lot of people are saying. They should have given Michael a piece of the team. They gave him $36 million a year for the last 2 or 3 years he played for them. They made up for his lower salaries in previous years. And don't forget, Michael Jordan was asked to risk not one dime in ownership of the Bulls. Jerry Reinsdorf and his investors did that. I think Michael deserved a ton of money. He got it. I don't think any player deserves an automatic piece of the team.
Hey, Tom, that's big, man. $36 million for 1 year. I would take that in a heartbeat.
And they did that for more than one season. Plus, if Michael Jordan wanted a high-salaried position with the team right now, he could have that.
Oh, man, Tom, hold tight, man. This is getting thick. This is getting thick. Chicago Bulls guard number 23 is in the Hall of Fame. Is he the greatest player ever to live? Will there be another Michael Jordan? Stay tuned. Dwayne Wade interview is later in the show. Call me, 877-358-CLTV. Tom Shaer and Garrard McClendon Live. Back in 2 minutes. Well, welcome back to Garrard McClendon Live as we celebrate the induction of former Chicago Bulls guard Michael Jordan, number 23. Is he the greatest to ever play the game of basketball? Will Kobe, Dwayne Wade, Shaq, Steve Nash, will they ever get close? Call me, 877-358-CLTV. Tom Shaer joins me for the Jordan Rules on Garrard McClendon Live. Before I go to phones, Tom, the Jordan Rules, man. Hey, he was getting a lot of calls, man, late in his career. You know, go up for a layup or a dunk. You know, he'd slap his own thigh to get the call from the ref. Come on now, the Jordan Rules.
Well, he knew what he was doing. I mean, there are certain perks that go along with the territory when you spend that much time in the league at a high level. Yeah, Jordan got some calls that other guys probably wouldn't get. He got an extra step in the lane, stuff like that. But he's not the only one. He's just the one who did it best, I'll tell you right now.
And you know what? When Jordan would take, you know, 2.5 or 3 steps, that's nothing compared to the 4 and 5 steps these guys take now.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's ridiculous that these guys are walking and running through the lane. Hold tight, Tom. I'm going to Camille. Thanks for calling Garrard McClendon Live. Camille, what's your comment?
Thank you so much, and I just want to make 3 points. The first point is I'm a female, and I watch, without having to say that, I watched Michael Jordan in his entire reign, and the way that he affected me as a person who has to break a glass ceiling, he made me break that glass ceiling. And I'm in IT project management, and I'm also a musician on the side. He encouraged me to jump way above. This is not basketball. He affected all areas of life.
Yeah.
Number 2, when you talk about greatest of all time, that's up to date. That means that they are comparing all of the individuals that have come so far, and they're saying he revolutionized the game. And the last point I want to make is Jordan said it himself today. He said, I didn't get a chance to play with some of the greats, so I even feel kind of weird about accepting this, and that shows you he's the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say, man.
Camille, thank you so much for the call. Tom, she said a mouthful there. She said that Michael Jordan helped her with her own inner greatness in pushing toward the mark as being an IT consultant. That's pretty big, Tom.
Well, it is, and I haven't heard a lot of people outside the world of sports say that, but I can understand how that would be the case. Look, I have a son who was born in 1987. 3 years after Michael was drafted, 4 years before his first championship. And he watched and imitated Michael Jordan's basketball moves and became a pretty good basketball player. Played varsity ball in high school at Glenbrook South.
Yeah.
But I also watched him observing Michael Jordan's ability to communicate, his ability to take an intelligent thought and put it into an intelligent phrase and do an interview. I personally was around Michael Jordan more than 400 times as a sportscaster here in Chicago. I added it up one year, and I think 400 is a very conservative estimate. I added it up once, and I was always amazed at his ability to figure out what was going on in a given situation off the court. And he handled it all very, very well. Look, Michael Jordan is not perfect. He is a flawed individual. He's made mistakes in his life.
Oh, yeah.
As have we all. But in terms of being able to do his job, what he's paid to do, and these guys are role models, okay? All celebrities are, whether they like it or not. All people in positions of responsibility and authority are role models. Michael Jordan did it better than anyone I have ever seen.
Yeah.
He just did it all, on the court, off the court, and I can see how he would inspire someone. Look, Michael Jordan once said, "I'm not afraid to fail." And I thought, come on, Michael, what is that?
Here we go.
That's just what is that? What do you mean by that?
Yeah.
What do you mean fear? I'm not afraid to fail. You don't fail. In fact, he does. I mentioned earlier in the show that he took 23 game-winning shots.
Yeah.
Pardon me, he made 23 game-winning shots. He took 2 or 3 times that. Yeah, but if he missed one, he wasn't afraid to try again.
It's about responsibility and taking that responsibility, and Michael Jordan was willing to do that. Tom Shaer, man, thank you so much for being on Garrard McClendon Live, my friend. We'll have you back.
All right, my pleasure, Gerard. Good to be with you.
All right, and now your Chicago Bulls 6'6" guard out of the University of North Carolina gets legendary accolades today, inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame. NBA guard Dwayne Wade from the Miami Heat. He called me today. Stay tuned for his thoughts on trying to be just like Michael Jordan after the break. Garrard McClendon Live continues. 2 minutes. What does Michael Jordan mean to Dwayne Wade?
Oh, man, it's no secret that I did, and I think it's a lot of other people that will fall in line with, them pattern their game after Michael, man. I mean, he meant so much to us, as giving us that, the format. He laid out the red carpet like, okay, this is how y'all do it, and all we had to do is follow. I mean, I'm just such a huge fan of his. Growing up in Chicago, I felt like he was one of Chicago's very own, even though he's not from here. But just watching him do great things here within basketball and see where basketball led him, as a man, as he's respected, as one of the most recognizable faces in the world. So I'm just happy not only to to watch my idol going to the Hall of Fame. But now, you know, everyone know I'm a part of Brand Jordan now. So to watch we're business partners now. Going to the Hall of Fame. So tonight is going to be a great night for the Jordan brand and his family. So, you know, we all appreciate the things he done.
Did you ever own a pair of Air Jordans, Dwayne?
I could. I mean, growing up, I really couldn't afford them. So once I got to college and I got an opportunity to get a couple dollars, I bought me a couple pair of Jordans. Now I have an unbelievable amount of Jordans. And like I said, I mean, I had my own shoe for 6 years with Converse, and Michael handpicked me to come over to his brand this year, and that's just an honor in itself right there. So I'm looking forward to having a lot more.
Dwayne Wade, what's so special about Michael Jordan?
There's a lot of great players that came before MJ, and even MJ would tell you, man, that, you know, if it wasn't for those players, there would be no Michael Jordan. But he just put it all together the right way, right? He put, you know, his charisma, his attitude, his personality, his athletic ability, his tenacity to win. He just put everything together, and you come out with this. When you watch him, I mean, you can watch highlights that today that's running, and it just gives you goosebumps, and it makes you want to go out. It makes anybody want to go out on a basketball court and try to play. And I think the thing that's so special about Michael is he made everybody do that. Across the world, he made everybody believe that this was the best sport in the world. And he was the most famous athlete probably in our time that we will ever see at that time. I mean, it wasn't no internet. It wasn't, you know, ways to keep up with guys like it is now for us to be known. And he did it, you know, by what he did on the court. And it was amazing.
Dwayne Wade, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for sharing your thoughts on Michael Jordan with us.
No problem. I appreciate it, boss. Thank you a lot.
Number 23 has left the building, but he will stay in our hearts forever. Michael Jordan, congratulations. That's Garrard McClendon live for tonight. Hey, keep your head up, stay positive, and always be encouraged.